Después de la creo que no sé qué.
So this is tricky. Ecos. We're going to start with
what ways in which network and citizens by the crowd mapping of data provided by open sensors owned by the citizens themselves, for instance about radiation, air pollution or traffic, and about the economic challenges, especially those related to the implementation of truly participatory low-carbon economy through collective awareness platforms enabling citizens to share information about how best to buy or to recycle food or products. I also think that digital social innovation may be crucially important for the development of the Internet itself, because it may drive different technological priorities, such as data governance. As you know, we have been exploring all the areas in future initiatives. I will just mention two which we are going to launch in October, the Next Generation Internet Initiative and the European Innovation Council 5 Million Prize for Social Good. We cannot that there are challenges ahead of us, such as privacy and data ownership. And creating a better understanding and a broader awareness of these challenges among citizens and among policymakers is a key to achieve the full potential of hyperconnectivity in a way which is democratic and inclusive, which means to the benefits of everybody, and not just of the few people who can afford the new technologies or of the few big global companies capable of aggregating big data. To create this awareness, and I conclude, a broad community of innovators, catalyzed by one of the CAPS projects, has just launched an open manifesto for digital social innovation, which you can find online, and which is aiming at promoting bottom-up solutions, leveraging on participation, on collaboration, on decentralization, on openness, and on multidisciplinarity. You are all welcome to read it, and if you subscribe to these goals, to sign it. I thank you for your attention, and I wish you an afternoon full of exciting conversations. See you soon.
Okay, so when we are placed all the languages, all people they are each one of the names disimo. Later on we will
de innovación social digital, contar los nuevos desafíos sociales.
Is this on? Yeah.
Yes.
Cool. First, it's been a really great morning with, I'm sure you all agree, some really exciting stuff going on. So I work for a charity called Este, based in London, which is an innovation foundation. And we exist to try and back ideas which can tackle some of the big social challenges of our time in areas like healthcare, democratic participation, education, and so on, environment as well. And over the past 3 or so years, Nesta's been quite deeply involved in digital social innovation in a couple of projects. The first called, rather inventively, Digital Social Innovation, and the second, Digital Social Innovation for Europe. And really amazing things with technology to try and tackle social, how we can use things like machine learning and digital social innovation, that there's a lot of what's actually going on. A lot of these projects have struggled with great projects like the ones you've heard about this morning, Digital Social, which I mentioned, connect practitioners to each other. One of the things which I find can be a little bit frustrating because there's so much great stuff going on and quite alongside the government in a lot of countries, including in most countries in Europe. And we just think things could be done a lot better. They have really strong networks. They have maybe thousands of people in their databases, thousands of people on their mailing list, thousands of donors who can really, their intelligence, their time, their skills, their assets can be harnessed for social good. And the community needs to work on over the next years is bringing you on board, getting into what already has 10,000 people who they can funders as well, who are quite behind the curve to citizen parties. And on the other, some of the projects we, for example, trying to do these real hotbed for digital social innovation.
Innovation, that's one, as I read in your curricula, you were specialized in so many things.
And you know European Commission project, so why you don't jump in the unit of technology? And I say, yeah, I have to pay the rent. I would be very happy to join you. So I spent the last 16 years of my life working with software engineers. And for many, many years, I have been the only woman in the projects and the only social scientist in the projects. That have been very challenging at the beginning, but very, very interesting. And I'm so happy that now is normal and well accepted the fact that technology per se is not the solution, not even the topic, but interdisciplinarity and how to use technology for social good or for environmental good is becoming every day more common. Still, more huge problem in European culture, I think, and all have so-called been developed or programmed. So I think one of the topic is that also in 2 days, successful, you make
in visual language, no? Yeah. Just part of the part.
Clave. Francesco Saverionucci.
Leader project similar to the nation. And in the website it's possible, maybe not here, but you can navigate and see in the maybe in the project there should be a menu on the. But anyway, if you navigate in the project, you can see that we found many different initiatives. And something that is interesting for us is understanding the possibility to scale up. For the if you go here, you can see call one, down again. So this is the first. We organized 3 open calls where the people can present ideas. And here you can have the list of these ideas. And this is very interesting, it's very challenging, because it's something that is, we received a lot of ideas from many different kind of people, students or people working in large industry. So you can understand that this is completely different. And but this is the first call that means a small amount of money, just to give the people that have some ideas to work a little bit on this idea and present a document. Then we will have the call 2 and the call 3, who winning project. Here receiving people. This is about transparency in Spain, asking for us.
Of course, engineers has to make their work, but anthropologists will give that human skin. So thank you for that. So we've got a small video.
OpenCare es una plataforma global orientada a la asistencia médica y social. Su objetivo es la búsqueda colaborativa de soluciones abiertas, dando respuesta a necesidades y problemas reales. El proyecto será presentado por Jason Ballet.
First of all, good afternoon, and thank you to Ciber Voluntarios to have this space to be able to present Socratic. We have a little video that explains in big lines the process that we are supporting, and then I will explain. Developing and thinking the methodology is that social innovation, and some people that to educate it, and the platform person
And to develop, as you have seen, there is a lot of
problem with the price of drones. Maybe, okay, if we have a way to fix this problem, maybe we can do this sort of work, and so on and so on. So what we end up with is having this kind of, let's say, network. So one person has an ID, which is the small I in the middle, and then all the persons start talking about this ID. And then obviously more IDs come on and more people keep talking about them. And so on and so on. And you end up with having this huge network. So this is what we actually like. When I say we, I say the social scientist. So we end up with having all this ethnographic code, which allows us to say, okay, this conversation say something about these topics, this conversation say something about this topic, and then we have different sort of topics, which end up popping all over the place. And what we want to do afterward is to actually extract those topics. Okay, there's a lot of slides. And we want to draw some sort of connection between these topics. So it allows us to say, okay, when we have this topic, there is a good chance that this topic will also come. So for instance, in the case of drone, okay, drones are great, but maybe they imply that the project will be costly. Or maybe if you say in the case of operation, you say, okay, we can have some surgical operation, but it implies that a specialist has to be present, and so on and so on. So you end up having all those different links in between. Okay. And so there's another network which goes about that. So if we apply to a project, we end up with having something like that, which is obviously completely illegible, so you don't understand anything which is happening there. And that's why it's our part to actually try to skim through all the data and understand what is happening there. Okay, so more on the project, we have all those keywords which allows us to actually understand what is happening in the different projects and or the different conversations. So as you can see, we have a lot of discussion which goes about migration, because in the last 2 years it was actually kind of a hot topic, and we also have a lot of spoken discussion which goes about design intervention, mental health, community-based care, and so on and so on. And so what we have is we have this conversation between 280 persons, 500 discussion, 2,500 comments, and so on and so on. And obviously we have to do some filtering afterward. So I'm guessing I'm a bit short on time, so I'll go through it. So for instance, this one is a sort of example that I have a network about stress. So as you can see, when people speak about stress, they end up speaking about mental health, self-care, art and health care, empowerment, depression, and so on and so on. So what we can do from here is to have all those kind of topics and study what is happening there. So another example, this time focus on one specific discussion to see what's happening there. And then we have a focus on different users. So we are able to do all kind of filtering on them. Okay. So what we really want to do is to end up with this kind of people actually discuss with each other, to see how been contributing, and to end up with having being able to use the expertise of the user, so this collective intelligence, which is underlying in every community, and to actually use it to advance social innovation. So the final word, take on calligraphers. So we have a whole tool which is actually used for this kind of visualization. So if you want to try it, it's available at graphrider.opencare.cc. Or if you want an in-person demonstration, don't hesitate to call me up. Okay. That's it. Thanks.
Thank you. So there is still a lot more that we may not have seen.
So we are not able, so we are still a kind of a small team, so we are not able to go through all the data as it's in itself. And the people who actually are helping as moderators on the platform to take a look at the conversation, know a lot about the data, but there is still some sort of connection between those discussions that we do not know. So this is what I mean. It's not, as I say, it's supposed to be like about social innovation, but the fact that we are opening this analysis to the whole world means that we are kind of expecting from people to take a look at it and say, okay, I see a connection between maybe this kind of topic and this kind of topic, and it's happening a lot, so I want to take a closer look at that and see what can emerge from this kind of association.
Sounds great, Jason. Congratulations. Thank you.
Thanks.
Let's see who's coming, Marco. Let's see who's coming. Jason. Dun, dun. Yes, Marco Sacchi from Common Fair. Marco is a designer in the technology related to register and accountancy, and he knows everything about the nature of money. But I don't know what are you going to tell, so.
Common Fair es una plataforma que busca impulsar un nuevo modelo económico a través de la colaboración, experimentación y solidaridad, para impulsar respuestas sostenibles a dificultades cotidianas. El proyecto será presentado por Marco Sacchi.
Thanks, Cyber Voluntarios, for the organization, and Malaga is very cool. I mean, thanks. I'm having fun being here.
Thanks to you.
Thanks for those that came today, and I'm gonna do my 10 minutes starting by who I am, and then we'll dive a bit into Common Fair, because this will allow me to show you that I don't know everything about the nature of money, but you know why I'm here and why I do what I do, because the main message I would like to give you is you should be concerned about the nature of money, because you should be concerned to have a money system that works for you. And, well, if you think that it doesn't work for you today, and in my opinion, it doesn't. So my story is very simple. I'm Italian. My father is Italian. My mother is from Mozambique. And I was born in Italy. So, as you see, it's yin and yang, it's black and white all the time in my life. And I have been a very committed social activist, political activist from the left. And I still am, although the left doesn't exist anymore, at least in Europe. You know, everything happened actually in July 2001 of the Twin Towers. I didn't look at the news, but it's not. He said it could have been him. He decided not to go because he didn't want to get into trouble. Everybody thinks about money as a tool from Aristotle until Keynes, and nowadays. So it's a tool, it's a unit of account, a tool with 3 functions, a unit of account, means of exchange, store of value. And we can use it for these different functions to make our economies flow, if there is enough money around. But then it turned out, digging more than, and I prefer this definition, money is not a tool, money is an agreement. And again, coming from the study of language, if you study money, then if you take a banknote and you read what's on a banknote, it's a promise to pay. The governor of the central bank signs it, so it becomes real, and it's just a piece of paper. So a 100 euros banknote costs 3 euro cents to be produced, but then when the central bank issue it, it values 100 euros because they have the authority to do so. And so going on in my studies, then I started a Ph.D. in England, and then Bitcoin came on the scene. I noticed that it's possible, for example, we have the Maastricht, the Bitcoin algorithm for mining, and the agreement change. Or you can have local currencies, even in Spain, you have some of them. So it depends really on the kind of agreement we have. After the Second World War, you have cigarettes pockets because that was the means of exchange, and everybody agreed that that was money. So with cryptocurrencies, now we have a new agreement, which is decentralized, and with Common Fair, the project I'm involved in, we are trying to go beyond the boundaries of what's out there in the application of technology and the use of money, again, for the social good, for social innovation. Because Common Fair is meant to be a platform. We started last year. It will go live. I mean, if you can put on commonfair.net website, or if you go on commonfair.net, you're going to see that there is already a release there, but it's the first one. This month, we're going to go with a second. Next year in April with a third. And then in 2019, we will launch the fourth and final one. On Common Fair, we put information for people that we define in PI conditions, P-I-E, because the Common Fair is the platform of the PI News project. So the official project with the EU is called PI News, which stands for Poverty, Income, and Employment News. And the idea is to put information on welfare provisions, because a lot of people doesn't even know their rights and what kind of benefit they can get from governments. And so they stay in poverty for lack of information, and so we want to fill this gap. Then we want to ask people, and we start with 3 pilots in Croatia, Italy, and the Netherlands, to tell their stories, especially the stories that they have when they can solve their poverty or low income or unemployment situations when they don't use the public benefits. And so they are ingenious, or they collaborate, and they solve the problem of they improve their condition independently from state intervention. And then the third part, which is what I have the honor to work at, and I have the luck to be in the right consortium to win the bid, is what we call support. So the idea is to give a digital currency system itself on the platform. And this digital currency system, we are submitting this month the research deliverable for that, is meant to be both a system to allow people on the platform to interact among themselves, but also a way to make the project sustainable after the EU funding is over. Because this project has almost all of them, some 2 million euros for 3 years. We are 9 organizations, and I can assure you that it's just enough to get to the end of the funding, but you cannot expect any of that money to go to then make the platform sustainable long term. So we got in the PI condition ourselves, and so we said, okay, we have to solve the problem of scarcity, and luckily there are a lot of bad sides, and this morning we've been reminded some of them about blockchain, but a good point is that it's digital money, and so you solve the problem of scarcity, not Bitcoin itself, I mean digital currencies and the blockchain. Because we can issue as many million or billions of coins that we want, we can distribute them to people, and at the same time we can, and we want to use the blockchain to go into the capitalist machine, depending on, you try to build something that it sounds like social capitalism, which is an oxymoron, but with blockchain technology, we think we can make it concrete. How? We take money from donors or philanthropists or people that want, to help other people with fiat currency, so with euros, dollars, or bitcoins to be converted, and we just want to distribute it through smart contracts to NGOs, or to build scholarships for students that are too poor to pay for university, or invent mechanisms on top of everything, which is one of the main pillars of the Common Fair economic model, deliver basic income, simply. You enroll on the platform, you can prove that you are poor or you are eligible for a basic income. It can be also unconditional, employed. And you simply receive euros. And we want to make the platform, to incorporate the platform at the end of the day, at the end of the project, in an NGO itself. And through another project I've started to be involved in, and a colleague of mine is here, we started to work together a couple of months ago. The idea is to build up an ICO, an initial coin offering, so again, blockchain industry. Open a foundation in Switzerland, because it's the only place where you can incorporate structures to run ICOs in a legal way. So it's a non-profit foundation called YETA, so it's Y-E-T-T-A. And we want to serve Common Fair, so to funnel the money from philanthropists and give it to the common fair platform that distributes it at the individual level to organizations in all of Europe, because we think this is the only way to make the project then scale, because I don't know how many minutes I have, but I'm almost done, but the idea is that all these collective awareness platform has the little defect, as Antonella was saying, fundraising is a problem. The madam here today was like, if you have lots of money, give it to me because we need money. So the idea is to make it self-sustainable, and the only way that we saw, since philanthropy is a $1 trillion industry per year, we're just saying, okay, let's take it from people that is giving it away anyway, and just give it to the most needy that could be in Europe with common fare, but it can work globally. The idea, and what's differentiate this DIADA protocol from all the others, is that the donation will come then from the speculative value of the appreciation of the crypto coin on international exchanges. So either you do it with speculation, and this is new, or if you really want, you just give a one donation, and we are sure that the money is going to arrive to the right recipient. So again, I gave you the snapshot of common fare on the money side, because it's what I'm working in the platform, but it's bigger. I told you there will be, storytelling. You can post videos. It's a Facebook. It's a sort of social network to allow horizontal networking among people in Pi condition. And we will hope that we will help people also to find that they're eligible too. So I just closed, don't listen into the better society could be built for all of us. Thank you.
Marco, tell us a little bit, how do you see when is going this to change? Is it something in 10 years, 20 years, next year? And how do you see the future, the role of the money in the future?
We have the crystal ball course, but there is that debt of our countries could be just sterilized and clean with a simple accounting entry at the central bank. They will just freeze it, and we could just start from zero. But since this is a very effective social control system, they don't tell us, and they don't do it. So I don't know how long it's going to be. That's why I tell you, get informed, because the more we know it, and the quicker we can get to a better future and the money system that can work for us better. That's how I can answer.
Okay. I don't know if they are good news. I don't know.
Well, listen to the message, don't kill the messenger.
Okay. Thank you very much, Marco. Thank you.
Thanks.
And at the end, we will listen to Massimo Menicel. He's a project manager at the Fab Lab in Barcelona.
Make It es un proyecto de investigación centrado en el movimiento Maker como impulsor de innovación social y sostenibilidad. Ciudadanos que hacen y producen lo que necesitan. El proyecto será presentado por Massimo Menicinelli.
Hola, buenas tardes. Good afternoon, everybody. I will start by telling the story of MEFPAS in the last 12 years, or more, even more, almost 20 years, because I think it mirrors also what happened in the Maker movement, also in Fab Lab Barcelona, and how Make It fits into this. So my background is industrial design, so I studied how to design products and artifacts that can be produced by factories at mass scale. So when I started my university at the end of the 90s, was in Milan, which is one of the main industrial areas in Italy, and all the professors told me, you're going to learn how to design products, and then some factories here in Italy will produce, and you have to care only about one part of all the system designing. So then all of these nice factories are in China. Wasn't that out of mind for the industry, for mass scale, for local production. So things really changed a lot in a few years. The localities, the cities, and the regions where our projects are designed and where they end. So not just we design artifacts, but we design how these are used by people, by communities, where they're producing, and how. So basically what I tried to do already with my final project in the university was to use design tools and approach for organizing communities in cities, in regions, trying to follow open source and peer-to-peer tools and practices, which already back then were interesting for finding a way to organize community of people and also to scale and work with other communities and have an impact. So the focus also in the design profession started also to be from just artifacts to working with localities and with communities and working on designing organizations and supporting organizations. And also that was 11 years ago when I finished that. I started to realize there was this thing called Maker Movement, or in Spain also known by Hacedores, which is also a quite broad way for defining people who make things with digital technologies and in community and by sharing. But there was already a good example where actually we could work by connecting communities, but having an impact in localities. We have all these laboratories like Fab Labs, maker spaces where you have access to this digital technology like 3D printing, which is probably the most famous, but it's not the most used. There are several other ones like electronics, working with laser cutting, and CNC milling, so any kind of material, not just with plastic. And what the Maker Movement basically has been doing is democratizing access to this. So by giving access to technology, the space, the community, but also with education. So of course, this is not only about manufacturing, so you cannot compare the 3D printers that we have in a Fab Lab with the 3D printers that you can find at Airbus or Renault. They're of course a bit more expensive, they can work with other materials, but of course they're still under locked doors, which is what you probably have seen with 3D printers since the 80s, 10 years ago. They were only closed, they were expensive, only few people could access them. And Fab Lab, for example, like Fab Lab Barcelona, which is the first one in European Union, we celebrate 10 years last March. I've worked a lot on this. So we started with one machine, two machines, more machines. And basically we can cover from electronics to a wall building, from software to working with textile and fashion design. And a few years ago we also started another Fab Lab in the hills of the city, in a natural park. It's called Green Fab Lab because basically it works with biomass, with agriculture, with wood from the forest, with biology in order to understand how to make sustainable production and use the production to make more sustainable regions. So Fab Lab Barcelona is very important because historically has been one of the first ones, also of the size, the number of projects, but also for two other main reasons. One is that we've been focusing in the past years in trying to understand the impact, or at least how to improve what we do as makers at city level, at city region level. So here again, we move from artifact to locality. So it's not about just bringing back manufacturing to the cities, urban manufacturing, which is a quite complex thing to achieve, but even partially, even just with the making movement and with more craftsmen and local businesses, what happens if we design something and then is used in the city, for example, for checking the quality of the air, for growing food in the city, and then we scale it with the citizens. This is not as bringing back factories in the city, but we have a huge impact in the city. So that's why we call this Fab City. So it's not a smart city. It's not just from the bottom up, it's both bottom up and top down, but the idea is used and technology just to change how things are done in the cities. The other things that we've been doing in Barcelona is more than giving access to the machine, so it's not the typical access to the machine. So we've been coordinating the application that takes place all over the world. We've been also developing FabLabs.io, which is the open source platform that connects all the Fab Labs of the world. We have 1,200 labs all over the world, and in Europe there are 600, so half of it are just in Europe, and we have 11,000 users, so it's really like a huge platform for giving support and co-organization. So again, you see there is the moving from just focusing on artifacture, on producing something, to understanding what this means in a locality and to bring support to an organization, to communities. So maybe completely fits into this because it's not a project where we are working on production itself. We are not working research in 3D printing or artifacts, but we try to understand how maker communities, how maker initiatives, be a Fab Lab, be a project like Arduino, be a commercial project, something else, how they organize, what is their governance, how is it structured, and how these basically translate to behaviors in the community, what is the collaboration, what is the dynamics, the values that they generate, and how these do create value and therefore also impact. So we're working more on, let's say, the more the immaterial, the more social and process nature of digital fabrication. And for doing this, we started with analyzing in-depth 10 case studies all over Europe. Then we analyze also technology, what's already available, both for CAPs, for everybody, but for makers, and also we are thinking about ideas for improving this technology, and we are testing them with people in what's called actual research. So it's not just research that we do on our own, but we get people, get the users involved, so they have a role in that. This is something that, again, this is a 2-year project, so we also reaching the end at the end of this year. You can already find some results online, especially under results and deliverables, especially the 10 case studies, but we are still experimenting a lot, so there is still also room for participation of people, and you will see more towards the end of the year. Then the important thing that, again, probably has already been said also by Marco, 2-year project is not really a huge project in terms of resource, in terms of time. I mean, we can really just start, studying this world and try to understand how we can understand that. So also the whole idea of impact is very important, because we have been saying as makers, okay, this is a revolution, we're going to change everything, and then people ask how much, where, and what, and that's really hard. That's really hard for understanding also really what we are doing, how to improve that. Also, when we go and ask for funding and say, okay, well, if you give X, we can bring more innovation in this kind of way and so on. So that's really a tricky part, but it's important, for example, in making that half of the partners in the project are actually makers. So it's also a sign of maturity of the making move to try to understand really what do we live in the world, not just playing or even do education or finding people and so on. And this is a conclusion. I mean, why making is a digital social innovation. Well, on one side, you've seen a very nice example today. I mean, use digital manufacturing technologies for creating solutions to very important social issues. On the other side, we'll say this is a really good way for spreading education in digital technologies. So if you manage that, you bring these technologies to children now, I mean, what they can do now in 20 years, now they already know how to hack hardware, software, and so on. Probably they won't be very passive to just, big platform, but they know that they can make technology. It's not just something that you receive passively. And the other thing is that the whole maker movement, I mean, it's basically something that, of course, a lot of support from media, university, even recently by government, but it's really a bottom-up movement. It's basically the movement of people that they start to know that, oh, they are like-minded people in other parts of the world. I never knew that in New Zealand or in Peru or in Norwegian, in Norway, they are people that we work together. We have the same idea. So actually, what we're trying to in culture is why it's really relations in the future, not just for working with manufacturing.
Thank you, Massimo. I would like to ask you, I read your bio, you've been working on this through all over the world in different parts. You've been teaching, you've been writing books, all that stuff from the difference.
There is no money, so you actually have to find all the jobs that are possible. So I've been lucky and unlucky at the same time that in order to make a living out of this, I work as a teacher, but also as a student, a researcher, consultant, even director. So that has been good for having different perspective of the same phenomenon, which is something that I think is important for the making movement, because in case you're not just doing one part, you experiment more things. So this is probably one of the we should learn from the making movement. And in the difference about the approaches in Europe, in the world, this is actually one of the things that I think that are very important, because usually when you think about these labs, fab labs, makerspaces, they should be quite similar. At least they should have the same set of technologies or processes that something is similar. And I've built some of them. And usually when I talk with people, and I build, I say, okay, but where is the manual where I follow it and I build my lab? And I usually say that this is not McDonald's. You don't buy the manual and you build the same that you can find here in any other kind of the world. You really have to understand what the local people, the local resources, the local organization need and can provide at the same time. So the good thing is really that it depends on the local, usually on the local context. And that's also important because, of course, you won't see one lab that is the same as the other. at least an approach and so on. But also it's important because this is not something that comes from above and you just have to put there, and some way, if you follow the rules, it will solve your issues. That is something, I mean, it gives you just a starting point, and then if you think to use about it for the local context, then you will really help people in your local context.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you, Massimo. Congratulations.
Now we have the jam session, what is called the jam session, meaning something that is not structured at all. So you have to really take the initiative. And I know this is difficult for Spaniards because we're not used to speaking. This comes from the school days because we tend to think that only the teacher can speak. But I really invite you to ask for the microphone and to really make questions. I know it's tricky, I know it's difficult, and I know that somehow you have to break the ice. But I have a trick that always works. So can talk about. Anyone else who wants to take the floor? Well, while we wait for Mari Carmen, maybe you can talk about yourself. I'm going to be very brief. So, and I needed to elect a capitalist, or part of the capitalist system. So I decided not to patent it. I just put it on the web, and I disseminated this innovative idea. And this is an innovative idea because it is a modular wheelchair, a traditional simple wheelchair to which you attach something that makes it a completely new, different wheelchair. That way you can climb stairs or small stairs. Also, it's modular because you can add things. There could be a series of add-ons, things that you can attach to it for overcoming specific problems. Well, many things are possible and many things can be improved, but I cannot find a structure of technicians and experts that can help me when I have this good idea that can really materialize it, that can make it real. Yes, I absolutely agree with you, and I think the Fab Labs can help you. We've done several of these projects, similar projects before, always for personal needs. So it is true that our labs do not focus on producing or making things for people who need them. We teach you how to make it yourself, because we want to empower people to create, to make their own devices, the kind of devices they need. But of course, it is true that debate, communication is not always easy. But of course, it should be easier in our labs. But of course, we want to focus on empowerment. This is what we really focus upon in manufacturing way, how to manufacture your own things. So there's still a long way to do, a long way to go. You have another campaign or another platform that is called Open Maker, in which we try to connect makers and companies and businesses. Because we as independent makers, we can work quite well, but then when we have to work for a company, there is some problems of miscommunication, lack of trust. So we try to overcome that, yes. And we've been working for 20 years, and yes, I completely agree with you with the question of the issue of patents, and a patent is not the solution anyway, because it will only last for 20 years. I have several examples. I think one of our labs could be your solution if you want to have other.
My Spanish is horrible, but I'll try. there is an American platform called named afterwards, and there patients and people with health problems or any problems related to medicine, they put it into practice, they implement them in everyday life, and the best ones are awarded every year, and they can make it, they can manufacture it with a big industry. They get enough funds to make it come true in large scale as well. So this could be another solution. You should look into it. And I think open care can also be another interesting space, because there are makers who are working with health issues as well, and they're testing some functionalities now, and this could be another possibility for you to develop and widespread and disseminate it. Yes, Antonella is going to be the director, and Maximilius, and that does exist and that's mass produced. I wanted to contribute. I want it to be. I want users to be involved in the making, and they can customize it and they can take an active part in it. This is what I'm interested in. Thank you. Let's give it up for him. This is your jam session, so just say anything that pops into your mind and EmpoderaLIVE. What have you been doing lately? Well, I've been doing a little thing where I'm from, and we've managed to push some projects, and with the optimism, I've managed to give some talks somewhere, and I got Merge Engine or broader corridors, broader doors. They exist, but we do not know where they exist, even if you... I'm sure that your cyber optimism will help you get there. There's no doubt. Like Ines said, for this I need help. I need help because I came up with one idea. I got many others, but I need to find a way to realize them, to implement them. I need to know, I need to have the appropriate approach. I need to know whether there is going to be a welcoming market for it. And for those people who want to be independent, this would be very helpful. And because many people do not wish to end up in a home where they have all the assistance they need. They could live in a house with ramps and domotics and many other solutions. Implement many things and have dignifying and appropriate housing. In my town, in Zaragoza, since the year 2000, new housing must be adapted to disabilities. I don't know how things go in Malaga, but back home in Zaragoza, I do know that since 2000 it is mandatory by law. Do you have anything to do with that piece of legislation? No, but almost. We are all motivated and we are all moved by the same passion, which is to make a change in the world through companies. Our website is Impact Malaga, impactmalaga.es. Right now, this network Impact already existed in other countries throughout the world, but there was nothing similar in Andalusia, and we are always complaining because the latest trends do not get to us. We do not know about the things going on elsewhere. The necessary thing is to have values you want to transmit, you want to pass on through your through your company. In July, we were pre-selected. We have been shortlisted, but we need more people. We are a tiny army. We need more people. Shout it out at them. Yeah, if you're here, if you are aligned with us, join us. This is a yearly event, and it's not enough for us, but still, we could be a hub, a reference hub for impact. And whatever you might need, we will help you contact them. If you need to get in touch with the administration, with institutions, with other people, you will find your links here with us. And entrepreneurs, civil servants, people with who are already in the business, you're all welcome. You're all welcome. And that's it. That's it from me. Find us online and join us, because we do need people. I hope you tell us about your success next year. Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Maricruz Blanco. I'm an architect and an urban planner. And it seems we've planned this before, but I'm specialized in universal accessibility and sustainable urban planning. And some time ago, I met disability from the approach of architecture. And I've ended up devoting my life to universal accessibility. And in spite that there is the fact that there is a lot of legislation about this, it has not been really with a multidisciplinary team, and our goal was to adapt things that were in a bad state so they could be used by anyone, by any person with functional diversity or disabilities. So we launched several projects on architecture, on urban design, urban planning, and we came to a point where we said that, okay, cities need to be inclusive, accessible. Some of the cities will be slow, some others will be emotional. So cities do have personalities, and back then we used to work with cognitive disability and mental health, and we decided, okay, that's true, cities have many values and many interesting. It was a technical challenge for me, and I loved it, but eventually we were requested to do projects in a non-appropriate way. We were getting data from people in a way I didn't like because it was not very ethical, so I decided to quit and start up a new innovation company. So far, it's just myself, and the idea is to have people such as our colleague in wheelchair and people who have small needs. We want to meet those needs ethically. I want to bring innovation to people in a comfortable way for them and for everyone else. I try to give back my knowledge to society. So this is the idea. I don't know what else to say. How do you come here? Why did you come here? Well, I came here because you were bringing together many different people with many different goals, and the common thing was to put people at the core. That was the common thing. So what I'm doing is about giving knowledge back to people. There is usually a gap between individuals and technicians, and we've seen this clearly with our colleagues' example. If you go to a company telling them about your idea and how great it is, they will tell you, yeah, but we need money for your idea, and since it costs money, we will not do anything with it. And I think it's sad. One way to sort out this kind of problems is just to do it because it's the best thing for everyone else. And if you don't make any money, that's fine, because there are many other ways to make money. There are many other industries, and that money is not going anywhere, just going to make bigger bank accounts. And the important thing here is knowledge. Knowledge belongs to everyone. It's not possible to have to learn things alone at home and not to make anyone profit from it. So this is the idea. My idea is called linking technology. And if you have any questions, just ask them. Thank you for your attention. Come over, please. Be so kind.
Pero ¿te has fijado que te vas a unir al selecto grupo de la gente que da un paso hacia adelante?
Yo lo doy como Lo que pasa es que hoy quería yo no darlo.
¿Qué sentarte allí, por ejemplo? Pero eso se cuenta aquí con un micrófono, es que desde ahí... Pero no, ven aquí, es que tienes que venir aquí.
Bueno, pues quizás yo en primer lugar...
Congratulations, first of all. To everyone, to the City Council, to the organizers, everyone. Well, I work for the Malaga Province Council. And 4 years ago, we discovered a center called the Noria. The Noria is a social innovation hub. It's actually one of the first ones. And what we did was very complicated, and if we wanted to describe all this, then we would need... It's very hard to us to explain people who do not know about this field, what we do. We're always willing to learn from someone else's experience. We are always trying to try out new things and put people at the core. We put people and social organizations at the core, because social organizations play and will play a very important role. And now the time is ripe, the ability to have where they can create synergies to launch new projects and everyone can harness them. In La Noria, we have been working for 5 years. We've had private partnership for a 60 project. We have recently launched the Social Impact School, aiming at constantly looking for common benefit for all the citizens. We always try to have an impact. Public money, everyone's money must benefit everyone. My name is Maria Sanchez, and I'm in the public sector. I'm not. You need to hurry up because you can submit your project until to give a hand. But him, not the rest of us. Thank. I work Knowledge Foundation. Our headquarters are in Madrid, but we are also in Malaga. We have been in Malaga for 1 year. We're going to have a congress in Malaga on the 23rd of November, and we're going to talk about robots. We're all robots, but we're good robots. We've seen how drones. We've seen things about drones and technology that could save lives if it's used properly. So the idea is to start talking about this. We want to talk about the bright sides of robots. We're going to discuss many things on the digital contents poll. We're going to talk about robots and digital contents and video games. Actually, one of the projects which really amazed me is the project on malaria. This is where we need to keep working. So, you're all welcome, you're all invited, and thank you very much. Be at the Digital Contents Poll on the 23rd of November in Malaga. Hello everyone, my name is Carmen. I'm here with a group of young people. We all belong to the Malaga Association of High Abilities. We have our headquarters in Malaga, and our goal is to support children with special needs, because there are many young people who are highly skilled, but with our current education system, sometimes they do not perform in school because they don't have the resources, and they don't have the means. So we want to collaborate, participate, work together with everyone who's interested. It's quite a few of us. I don't know whether you have any questions. Questions? No? How can we find you? We have a website called ASA Malaga, and there you'll find all the information. So if you don't use it, you'll lose it.
Daryl, you're here. Would you like to tell us something interesting or
that's working on looking at digital technology for social innovations. Specifically, our mission is to use blockchain, smart contracts, and cryptocurrency to a model. So, there's a big socialism and capital. The optimal work make money being a socialist. And with cryptocurrency, money giving it away. And that's Yetta. If you want more information, email us at info@yetta.io. That's YETTA.io. And we are sending you our white paper. We're going to do some fundraising with philanthropists in November. Hopefully we raise millions of dollars to help social causes and show philanthropy, how they can make the world a better place by giving them an incentive to help others, making money, helping others.
Okay, thank you, Daryl. I think we have nearly finished, no? Or not? Yeah, now we are making the photo. And also, you have already spoken. You have already spoken. But may I add the last, what you were.
Well, I think I'm done, but if I start again, then it's going to get another 10 minutes.
You can say thank you to the
Of course,
president.
thanks to everybody that resisted until this point, and thanks also for the presentation of the local community people, and thanks again, Malaga. That's all from me.
Thanks to you, thank you. Thank you for coming. Bueno, pues entonces esta era la sesión de la Jam Session, porque Hay una presidenta de la fundación muy...
So this was the jam session, but now I have to give the floor to the association's president, who has very two clear ideas. The audience is as valuable as the keynote speakers, and also we have to give everyone an opportunity. And now we'll have a family picture taken.